John's got a story for us today about a Twitter whistleblower. Today's Not So Critical update.
This is pretty big. This is like a really big deal. A couple of years ago, before Jack Dorsey left Twitter, he hired basically the creme de la creme of cybersecurity leaders, known as Mudge, and said, I need you to overhaul security at Twitter. Like, things are a mess. This was, I believe, right after the major hack, which was just a successful phishing attempt that got like big accounts to post crazy shit, like Obama and a few other big names. Because it showed that Twitter employees had admin access and were able to do really bad things like reset MFA and whatnot. So they brought this guy in, and then Jack Dorsey pretty much left right away. And the new CEO like shuttered Mudge and basically ignored his warnings like, hey, this is really bad. Like, we have some serious security issues, like really serious. And the guy got ignored for like ever and then got fired. He got let go, probably because of the repeat warnings that no one was listening to. And I imagine it kept getting more and more heated because he wasn't able to do his job. As I think he was a CISO. And then he blew the whistle and went to the government.
Yes, I saw another article about this before you shared this one and kind of dismissed it because the tone of the article was basically, disgruntled former employee, didn't bring a ton of evidence. We think he's just trying to cause trouble. But reading through this on CNN Business, it sounded a little more substantial than that.
There's a really good thread on the subreddit our cybersecurity, where a lot of people are chiming in and saying, when I heard who it was that blew the whistle, I understood I needed no further credibility checks. That's how much they respect this guy.
Yeah.
So
he's a legend.
He's a legend in security. So this is really big, not only because of his credibility that he's now putting on the line by saying this, but also because of the way Twitter seems to be handling it. This does not look good. Also, this doesn't look good because Elon's whole argument for backing out of the Twitter buy was that there's too many unchecked bots and Twitter will not provide accurate numbers. And everyone was laughing at him, saying, you're insane, you're on the hook for $44 billion. Looks like Elon just got out of this case. Like that.
I don't know if that was the problem. Like, Elon's problem was that he skipped over due diligence. Like, he had a chance to look into that. He missed it. I don't accept that as a valid argument, but Peter,
yeah, no.
You're going to say?
I don't know. It crossed my mind that everybody has a price, and Mudge is very well respected. But if Elon's looking for a way out and just quick $500 million, save himself a big tax bill. I don't know.
He did this on commission.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's everyone's got a price, right?
On spec.
The thing about it was, this guy is a legend, but he's from the days of freaking and blowing a whistle down the phone to Captain Crunch and all that. And
you're discrediting yourself, Peter.
What? He is. He's absolutely a legend. It's from the days when there was a lot more hyperbole. And a lot of those things.
What's that mean?
How do I put this? There's been times in the past where there's been big revelations of things that have happened, and then it turns out nobody gives a shit. So, for example, with NSA spying programs and I don't know, the CIA would operate abroad and under I don't know, Kremlin double agents or whatever. And it might make a good Netflix movie, but it's not that interesting in the end. And people don't really care that the government is actually spying on us. So it was these times when, so they make a big deal out of things, but it's just business in the end. So when a lot of the stuff that he listed about, they should be.
Do you want me to go through the allegations? So a couple things. That Twitter's leadership misled its own board and government regulators about its security vulnerabilities, including some that could allegedly open the door to foreign spying or manipulation, hacking, and disinformation campaigns. He alleges that Twitter does not reliably delete user data after they cancel their accounts, in some cases because the company has lost track of the information. That it has misled regulators about whether it deletes the data as it's required to. And the whistleblower also says Twitter executives don't have the resources to fully understand the true number of bots on the platform, and we're not motivated to.
Yeah. So maybe I'm just in a cynical mood today, but that just sounds like business as usual for any big corporation.
Yeah. Oh, they're not deleting the data they said they were.
That's not a good thing, Peter.
No.
And the fact that someone is bringing this up, especially because I believe Twitter execs, if I recall correctly, lied under oath, according to these allegations. Those are big deals.
Peter rolls his eyes.
Seriously, every single time I've seen someone from a big corporation go up against Congress, they're just full of shit. I mean, it's literally, I've never seen
an interview where caught, Peter. Getting caught is the important thing here.
Yeah, all right. So getting caught, cool. But this is just one guy. He's just alleging a bunch of stuff. I mean, did he? I have a bunch of evidence. I forget now.
There were some attachments to his
docket or something. Yeah,
filing, but not.
He also claims that when he was complaining to the CEO, that the CEO's like, "Don't put that in writing."
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, by the way, when I was talking about the NSA stuff just now, I mean, it's not to say they weren't doing that. It's that they absolutely were doing all this spy stuff. But
and then also he also alleged that half of Twitter's workforce have admin access.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. It's probably true.
That's really bad. Like that's not a good thing.
It's terrible practice.
It's fine.
It's going to bite them in the ass one day. But they're we haven't seen any mega leaks of Twitter data, so maybe it's fine.
They'll just use terminal sessions on their main server for their daily work.
Maybe. I don't know. Some days I would be horrified by this and be ranting about how best practices, but today I just can't summon the energy.
So here's a funny bit.
Would say, can't be asked.
Can't be asked.
So this amused me a little bit. They were talking about how this whistleblower would be handled legislatively, and they cited Dick Durbin, Chuck Grassley, and Richard Blumenthal. Guess what the average age of these three legislators is? The average age, guess.
83.
Close.
65.
The average is 80 years old. Dick Durbin is 77 years old. Chuck Grassley is 88 years old. And Richard Blumenthal is 76 years old. So I don't mean to come across as ageist here. However,
yeah, difficult for you two, me. It's like your buddies from down the
no, don't be mean here.
The gentleman's club.
The gentleman's club.
Like, it's not to say that people that old can't be in touch with technology. These guys are not.
No.
I think a bigger problem is that there's no age restriction.
What? You mean if you get too old, then you can't use the internet?
No.
Be in Congress, maybe, though.
Maybe not be in Congress at 95 years old.
Yeah.
Where you have to have a fucking person
crazy.
to wipe your drool as you're
Forced
talking.
retirement.
Jesus Christ.
I see Biden on TV and just, oh my God,
dear.
please do not die live on air. That's what I think every time I see it. So all to say, I don't have a ton of faith in our legislature to manage any of the. We've talked about this before, but anything to do with regulating technology is a disaster. Not just because of their age, because they're politicians.
Look at the the PPP loans that were just taken such
disaster.
Abuse over. Like, so many people got caught. So many people did not get caught because your systems are always just so fucking flawed. No, you're just handing out millions to people who don't even exist. Like, it's insane.
I don't understand how these people aren't retired. Like, who genuinely thinks that an 88-year-old can do
I
a
believe,
good day's work?
If I recall correctly, it's that there is no expiration date, right? They can always be reelected.
They don't have an
expiration date. There's no, they definitely do. They are expired.
Fast approaching.
Many of them are expired. Well past due date. You know?
We're being so awful here.
But it's true. It's like
true,
you can't. Yeah, okay, so sure, you served in like 30 wars, and you know, like you've seen, I don't even want to know how many recessions, probably starting with like 1929 depression. Like, yeah, you were born during that. Should you be deciding what happens with high technology, like laws and rules and punishments? Like, do you even know what high technology, like, do you even know what high tech is? Like,
it's feasible that someone that age could be. It's not just because they're that old. Really, I think what it is because they've been in the Senate, in the Congress for decades and decades and have never done anything else.
Right. That's definitely the person for the job.
I don't know how feasible it is, to be honest. I don't know any 88-year-old that knows technology very well or is even interested in it. Anyway,
knowing technology and then leveling that up. These are the people who decide what happens to your country. And you're telling me that their security is good? You're telling me that their OPSEC is good? Their individual and their password isn't fucking 112233445566, which was literally the Mar-a-Lago's fucking Wi-Fi password.
Are you serious?
That was the same password for the security cameras. You have to be kidding.
Oh my God.
And wasn't Trump's Twitter account hacked twice because somebody guessed the password, or they didn't change it after the first time?
Yes, the password.
No, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the old people are not good at it. They need to hire people who can be good at it.
Yeah.
But if you ignore the good people, Peter, that you've hired, because you can't fucking remember a 4-word passphrase that rhymes, then you're done. Like you're that should be the aptitude test. Is show me your password. Show me your Facebook password, because they're all on Facebook. There's no way they aren't. It's like a staple.
Also, though, like, to these people, this is just one more hearing they're going to have out of a billion things that come across their desk. And their concern is, how am I going to spin this to make more campaign money? Not what's the right answer to dealing with a problem like this.
Yeah, so that's why I think that this stuff that was sent to Congress by Mudge, it's a big kind of song and dance that security professionals might care about and say, "Oh, this is awful," but nothing's actually going to happen.
But that's
especially compared to some of the.
We have to say that's awful.
I know. I'm just.
What, Mike?
Especially compared to the Facebook whistleblowers, like that makes this seem very quaint.
Yeah.
Facebook,
absolutely.
the data scientist Facebook whistleblower, that shit was fucking crazy. So compared
have
to
you seen
Francis Hagen?
The Facebook papers that were released by Gizmodo, and have their own special archive and are being added to that. One of my favorite journalists, Shoshana Wodinsky, who I thought I think she's great. She spent months looking through that shit, along with other people whose names I can't remember, and they only got like a fraction of the way through. It's crazy.
Well, that's what happened with Cambridge too, with Cambridge Analytica. It was so much data they had to. That was probably the biggest collab among journalists and investigative reporters on Earth.
Until the next one,
where they all. I guess the first big
Snowden,
one, I guess,
maybe.
where Or maybe also Snowden is a good one. Yeah. Well, no, because Snowden was scared. So I think only 3 teams actually did most of the digging on the Snowden files, which is
only
why
3 teams.
Well,
yeah,
3 teams of 2 people.
6 people looking through data. That's bigger than my research team.
The NSA's tens of thousands of documents. That's why it took so long too to release new packets. If I recall correctly, this is all old and going off memory. But yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with Twitter.